brought Pauper Dex to the party. Pauper. I brought Pauper Dex to the party.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 30 of the PDH Pod, the one and only Magic the Gathering podcast dedicated to the total exploration of the Pauper Commander format. I am your host, Liam. Let's see what my co-host from the East Coast is up to. Dave, how was your New Year?
It was mostly really good. If you've listened to the last show, you know that I spent a week hanging out at my parents' house, really enjoying their company. That was fantastic. And then trying to get home was kind of a mess. They screwed up my flight really bad, and I ended up slouching in a very uncomfortable airport chair for like 4 hours. And now my back is like ruined. I've always had some problems with my lower back, and they're flaring up. So I am couch-bound for the moment. Kind of a bad time. But I did just get a secret layer in the mail. So I now own Optimus Prime and Megatron Colossuses, which is kind of cool. I'm a big Transformers fan. How was your New Year's, Liam?
All right. My New Year's was actually pretty okay. It was better than my Christmas week was, so that's good. Got to meet up with some friends that I haven't seen in a couple months. I finally did get my secret layer, my in memoriam Jaya ballad that my friend had down at his school. So yeah, that's good.
Awesome. What do you think of the Jai Ballad stuff? Is it cool?
It is really cool. It is as cool as I was hoping it would be. So awesome. I am really excited to be making my Oathbreaker deck with that.
Awesome. Astute listeners may have noticed that we are down a host. Brad is tragically suffering from the COVID brain, or perhaps lack of brain.
Yes.
So he's taken a week off to recover. We're still making him edit all of this. There's no getting out of that. But he's down for the count. But we have some extra guests instead. Liam?
Yeah, we did.
Who's joining us today?
Yeah, actually, we don't just have guests. We have returning guests. I would like to welcome back John and Eric from the PDH Pals. I would also like to make note that these are our first returning guests. We liked them so much the first time we had to bring them back.
Did you like us so much, or did we force our way back in here?
I think
I believe it was forced. I looked at the upcoming show titles and I saw Pals 2 XO Eric.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah.
I think what happened was the first Pals episode was number 15, and I think at some point someone made a joke about coming back every 15 episodes. And so we just sort of like threw the Pals return into episode 30. Like, yeah. At the time, episode 30 was like a distant pipe dream. I didn't know that we'd ever get there.
It was it was like 3 months out.
Like, this will be fun, whatever. And then episode 30 happened. We were like, oh, the Pals, yeah. What are we going to talk to the Pals about again? We'll think of something. They're fun people.
See, I think our good old buddy BradDracV is the picture of health right now, but he said, "Oh my God, I'm not talking to these fucking clowns again." I'm gonna let Alvin and Liam take care of this one.
Oh, I'm so sick. Oh, I just can't do it. I'm sorry.
Abort. They figured it out.
All right. Before we get into that main topic and avoiding the touchy conversation, this week in Magic, John, what do you got for us?
Well, this week in Magic, maybe for the first time ever, pretty much nothing, as far as I know, at least. And honestly, it's really nice of Wizards of the Coast to take a break right when we took a break. It's like they knew we weren't streaming, so there's really no reason to make new content or new cards. So, it's really nice of them. We all saw just how much content came out in 2022. It was disgusting. What was that, like some bank wrote an article about how much content they're making?
Yeah, Bank of America.
Bank of America. America said, stop making content. And you know what? They did for at least a week.
I got two things. The one is I can definitely empathize with our EDH cousins who had a quarter of all possible commanders printed for the first time in 2022.
I saw that. That is absurd.
And then, I'm sorry no one told you, John, but they brought back Mana Burn while you were gone.
Oh, Oh no! They actually reached out directly to the pals.
Oh, that's great.
Mentioned that to us. They said, we watched that one stream where you decided to try it out, and we thought, why did we ever get rid of that? It was so nice. It was so fun. So I wasn't aware of that. I just figured, it'll come out naturally when you're playing, and you see your life total go down.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Except that doesn't happen in any game ever.
That's what we really noticed. Yeah, we added it, and we were like, wait, this never happens.
It does literally nothing.
Well, see, what Manabone did is it prevented infinite combos or trying to fish for the infinite combo. Right? You had to have it right then and there to win. But yeah.
I mean, it was a much different game back then.
It was a much different game. But yeah, that's enough for this week in Magic. We're going to go on to our main topic now, which is, so you're thinking about getting into streaming, right? You want to stream PDH maybe. How do you keep that from being stale? Well, we figured we would bring in the people who have been streaming PDH for 4 years now, maybe longer, and get their point of view on it. So, our first question is, what would you say was the biggest hurdle with streaming PDH, or just in general? Was it the viewer count? Was it, creating content that you considered good, that you were happy with? Was it getting a decent stream look with an overlay? What would you say?
I'm gonna cut John off.
Please do.
The biggest hurdle with streaming PDH, and streaming anything for that matter, is getting 4 people in a room for weekly, bi-weekly, a couple hours every time.
That is a great
That's
point.
The biggest hurdle by far.
I didn't even think about that.
Honestly, hadn't even considered that either.
So this is actually a great point, and it's something that I want to mention. We are in the very beginning stages of other folks starting to produce a lot of PDH content, especially the common connoisseurs over on the Tryhard server. They are streaming PDH games that are taking place over Spelltable. So they have completely bypassed this challenge, probably because they have seen what a hurdle it is, and they were like, nah, fam, we're out.
Yeah, that is definitely the hardest part. Even just twice a week, 4 people all being free at the same time every week. I mean, you've seen how many 3-man Thursdays we have, or so we call it and stuff. Yeah, but, we are very much dedicated to the tabletop gameplay. We just don't want to do the over online. It just doesn't feel the same to us. So even if we have to play a few 3-mans or skip a few streams, we'd rather stick to it. But Eric, you're exactly right, Eric. That is the hardest thing.
I was going to say, the rest of it's like fluff. It's stuff you can work the kinks out later on.
Yes, that is very true. But out of those 3 things, viewer count, good content, good stream look, I think the thing I stress myself out the most with is how the stream looks, the quality of the stream, because honestly, view count, I mean, we had no delusions of grandeur that we're gonna turn on our stream and 100 people are gonna show up and watch us.
I was happy with 1 viewer.
Yeah, honestly, I never thought anyone would watch. So even that certainly was a struggle, but it wasn't really something we were concerned about. So it wasn't really a problem. And as far as the content goes, we have always been.
We don't make good content.
Yeah, we're just so focused on doing what we want to do. I think I think the original idea was, hey, we're gonna record ourselves playing PDH because we play it all the time, and then we'll have all these great recordings of ourselves, and we could watch them later. It'll be fun to kind of go back to that. And hey, we'll stream it if anybody's actually interested. Why not? So the content for us, it's kind of hey, if you want to watch it, cool. But what I do stress out over is just making it look good. And we've finagled with so many different things, so many different webcams, microphones, audio, video quality, lighting, so many things like that. Because at the end of the day, if I'm going to rewatch it, I want it to be at least nice to look at and not sounds of it. Because I mean, if you're going to watch an hour and a half long game of something and it sounds like crap or you can barely see anything, nobody wants to watch that, So that's definitely the hurdle that I focused on the most, I should say, I guess.
I'll say that the lighting is a huge problem, too. If you're going to stream a top-down thing, spell table's irrelevant, you're on the computer screen, doesn't matter. But if you're streaming a top-down angle, the lighting is miserable.
Yeah, and the glare from the sleeves, it's awesome.
Glare from what?
Just
something we're leaving in 2022.
Okay.
Yeah, something we've long forgotten at this point.
Sounded like you were talking about like an article of clothing in there, and I was just like, that seems.
Oh yeah, I wear very
something about
reflective.
a t-shirt.
I wear very reflective sleeves normally, and they bounce off the light and it gets all over my unsleeved cards.
Okay, all right.
And then you can't see them.
So that makes more sense. I got really confused for a second there, but yeah, that makes perfect sense. I understand.
Thank you
there's
for
a lot of
clarifying.
little technical tweaking that we do, and we can go more into that later. But yeah, that's definitely the biggest hurdle.
I think you've done a really good job of it in these last 4 years. I
think our quality is fucking top notch.
Yeah,
it is great. It could be better, obviously. Like the lighting, these bar lights are no good, but it's just all a little thing.
It's improved also. Going back and watching our earliest stuff, you can kind of see how we've improved. It makes me feel good.
Yeah, we had that tripod, light on the tripod or whatever it was. That was good old days right there. Fell over every 2 seconds.
I like watching the transition from like the giant Yu-Gi-Oh playmat to the Binding of Isaac to the Howling Golem and Marching Duodrone playmat. Like that's
perfect duo right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like eras of time.
Yeah.
Seasons even.
Yeah, and the things that you've done with the face cameras as well.
Oh yeah, that was all done.
Yes,
I've brilliant mind figured that out.
Yeah.
You can switch between
I really like the face cams.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's a lot of webcams.
I'll
talk more about webcams later, but they do not work well together. The more you have, the worse it gets.
It broke the old computer.
May it rest in peace.
Poor thing.
Is there anything else you want to add? Hurdles to streaming PDH?
I almost just want to say, anybody who's thinking about getting into streaming, you shouldn't really even be thinking about viewer count. Honestly, don't expect a bunch of people to just magically show up. You should really be making content because you want to make content. That's as a preface thing. So I wouldn't take that as a hurdle. Don't stress yourself over it. Just make content, and if you're continually enjoying it and doing it consistently and still having fun,
you'll get viewers. You'll get people. People will
you'll
watch.
Get,
if you're having a good time, the viewers are gonna have a good time. I also want to mention if you decide to stream PDH, not like anything else Magic related, just PDH. You have to realize this isn't EDH. There's not thousands of people ready to watch any EDH content. PDH is a lot more niche than EDH.
Yeah, we have a great community, but it's not the biggest.
There are dozens of us.
Dozens.
I don't know what you're talking
There
about.
are dozens of us. I'm a never nude.
Honestly, I'm gonna second that. The make content because you want to make content plan. That's definitely how I think I feel pretty safe speaking for Brad and Liam here. That's definitely how we got into this gig, and we're just having fun with it. And I'm always very surprised when I see viewer numbers. I'm like, really? I was just screwing around. I'm confident that nothing I said was that important. But if they're enjoying it, that's awesome. This is amazing. If you are enjoying it, dear listener, thank you. I was not expecting that, but I appreciate you.
It makes me laugh. I just know it's going to make you laugh.
There's something else I wanted to say. Oh, dozens of us. Yeah, no. Honestly, I'm kind of glad that our community is still relatively small.
I don't want the hustle and bustle of EDH.
Yeah, I think that the bigger the community gets, and I do want it to grow. I absolutely want to see growth and advancement, and I want to see new players come, and I want to interact with them. But I feel like if we ever got this explosive growth, then I think that we would end up being much bigger than I personally am prepared to handle, and I feel like that comes with a lot of unintended side.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, people make fun of hipsters, saying once it got popular, it was lame. But they have a point. They have a point. It gets worse. There's just too many people, too much going on, and you just lose it.
Okay,
lose the charm.
Here's my outlook on that is even if PDH got so popular they wanted to even think about start making precons. Here's how I know that that's never going to be a thought. Pauper has been around for how long, and we have yet to see any form of challenger event precon ever for
This is a
Pauper.
good point.
I think the best that we would get is EDH's the most popular format. PDH maybe isn't the second, maybe isn't the third, but it's top 5, top 10. And, it starts getting singles that are in the EDH precons. So like cards like Scare Tiller start getting intentionally made for PDH. I think that's kind of the limit of where they'll go, because there's only so much, that they can charge for a stack of commons.
No, you're right.
Which is a perk of a format.
Yeah, that's the beauty of being in a Pauper format. Is how much would they really even care to ruin?
Yeah, like of my 3 LGSs, 2 of them flat out refuse to fill my Pauper EDH orders anymore, and the third one is like, you can dig it out yourself and then buy it. So that's why I buy a lot of them online now. But it really is like.
Yeah, I'm not collecting a stack of 90 commons for $6 for you.
Exactly. So
minimum wage.
That just goes back to my point of like, even if PDH grew to that size, there's only so much they can do.
Yeah, I'd like to be optimistic, but I'm also fine with us getting less viewers. And
100%, yeah.
Dozens. We've hit 2 dozen before on your PAL streams.
Yeah, we were at 20 for most of last night.
That's
yeah. We average probably upwards of 20-ish.
20 is so close to dozens.
Go a little higher, and that is 2 dozen. And I think we've hit 3 or 4 dozen a few times on 24-hour stream.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's your dozens.
Dozens. Beautiful. If you have anything else to add, I would love to hear it. If not, I will move things along a little bit.
Certainly more to say. I'd say we just move on.
Okay.
All right.
I'm sure there's more to say, but I can't think of it.
I think the next thing is going to be a really big topic.
I'm excited to hear what you have to say, because I feel like I suspect I know some of the answers to this question. I just want to listen to you talk about them. Next big question I have for you is, how do you keep your own content fresh and interesting for both you and the audience? As people who have been streaming this game, same people, 4+ years. How does that not get stale?
Yeah, so we have been doing this for 4 years, and that's actually a really interesting milestone, because I think we started playing PDH about 8 years ago. So that means for about half the time we've been playing PDH, we've been streaming PDH, which is kind of wild to think about to me. Like, I had no idea we'd been doing it this long until I just check the date. This is so nuts. But there's a lot we do to keep it interesting, but I also want to preface it with saying that Magic content is pretty tough to work with. And there's a few reasons for that. First off, there's a lot of it. There's a lot of Magic content. It is one of those brands that everybody wants to make content for. Everybody wants to give their opinions. They want to talk about it. They want to show off their gameplay. They want to do all this stuff. And as a viewer, that's awesome, right? I mean, you have so many choices of people to watch and all that stuff. But as a content creator, it's a little hard. It's a little daunting because everyone's doing it. How do you really stick out at all? And on top of that, the type of Magic content that really does well is stuff like this. Honestly, it's podcasts, discussion, talking about Magic. People love to talk about Magic. And I think the reason for that is because you can actually interact with that content in the same way as if you were the person doing it, because you can comment on the video, you can share videos of discussion and add your own opinions on it, and especially if it's live conversational Magic content, you can chat with people. That's why our set reviews do so well, is because everybody wants to talk about Magic. But when it comes to Magic gameplay, it's a little less popular to watch. I don't think that you see a whole lot of people do super well with just gameplay, just straight gameplay. I think it's because it's harder to interact with. Magic's really dense. You really have to be watching very closely, and you can't miss a single thing, or you're going to lose the context. So it's just a lot to convey, and I think that's the struggle. And way we fix that is, I think, something that a lot of people who want to be content creators for Magic gameplay might not want to do necessarily. Because what we do is we take the focus away from the gameplay, basically. And we find other ways to keep viewers engaged outside of just being glued to the screen because the gameplay is so exciting. Because, like, you could probably think of a game you've had, right? Like, oh, so much cool stuff happened, right? I was playing PDH, and, like, this guy did this thing, and then this thing happened, and this other thing happened, and then I drew this card right at the perfect time, and, like, I won out of nowhere, and it was so exciting. And you'd think, like, oh, who wouldn't want to watch my hour-and-a-half long game of PDH where that happened? It's like, probably not a lot of people, actually. They want to go have a fun game, you know? They don't necessarily just want to watch your game. And especially in a live stream setting, you know, like, you gotta understand, people are gonna come in, and then they're gonna leave halfway through the game. They're gonna stop by for 5 minutes. Some people are gonna have you on a second monitor muted, or, like, just for background noise or something. Yeah, like Brad, he does that. So, like, you have to make kind of you have to just face the reality that, like, the gameplay itself is not going to do it. It's not going to drive people on its own. Really, like, the only successful gameplay YouTubers and streamers I see are people who already have, like, notoriety. You know, like LSV or...
Yeah, I was going to say, like, people who are, like, sponsored and shit already.
Right, or, like, have tournament records or something.
Who are known, like, tournament grinders and shit.
Yeah, like, I know that guy. He's really good. I'll watch him draft standard on Arena for 12 hours. Like, you know, they'll watch that person do it. They won't watch just anybody do it. So, you really have to look for other avenues to engage people. And there's, like I said, there's a few ways we do that. And I can go through some of them. The first thing I think is something anybody should be comfortable with, which is just, you have to talk with your viewers. You have to not just respond to them and, like, answer their questions. Of course you got to do that. But also, like, try to start conversations,
you
right?
gotta, like, know them and interact with them.
Yeah, like, come up with topics, throw it out there, just get people chatting. Like, if it's getting stale, come up with something. Like,
all right.
We'll just...
So who would win in a fight?
Exactly.
Stupid
exactly what I was going to bring up.
Things like that, yeah.
Like, we just ran a poll once. Who would win in a fight? I think it was Master Chief or Crash Bandicoot.
Master Chief got dumpstered.
Yeah, Master Chief got dumpstered. And then that was, like, an ongoing joke. Like, oh, Master Chief can't beat anybody. And we kept running polls for, like, and he'd always lose.
Oh,
it's like,
so funny.
You need stuff like that. Like, just silly stuff to keep people talking. Because when people are in a conversation, they're not necessarily just going to leave. You know, like, they want to keep chatting. But that's, like, a no-brainer. Like, if you're not comfortable, like, chatting with your viewers, like, I don't know, maybe you shouldn't stream. I don't know what else to say. Like,
I want to say we were
it's
so
a very social thing.
I want to say we were so comfortable chatting with one of our viewers that the crazy guy visited us and stayed with us for a couple days.
Yeah.
And then a week next week.
Yeah. He just invited himself to your house.
Yep.
Isn't that crazy?
And no one got serial murdered. It was wild.
That's crazy. And he's right here podcasting.
Yo!
Yeah, now we're crashing his party.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's not, you know what, Alc's not even the only person who's come.
I know, there's more.
We've had Infamous Fridge, of course, Lock, Finn, so many people. You know, so it really is, like, content creation, I don't know. People might think, like, oh, I just want to play Magic and have people watch me. But, like, it's really not about that. It's about the social experiment of it all, right? So it's like, have all these people you can chat with and carry on a conversation. So, like, that kind of stuff, I think that's pretty basic. But from there, we dip into some of the crazier things that we do to keep people...
Before you jump on the crazier things, I want to keep going on what you're saying.
Okay.
I watch, like, random streamers and stuff. I try and stick to, like, the lower number ones. And, like, you'll have people who say something in the chat, and the guy running the stream won't respond for, like, 5-10 minutes after until, you know, they're past. Like, that's not how you get people and keep people around, man.
No, yeah.
You gotta like, keep talking back.
You really do. Like, they'll just leave. I don't know.
People leave all the time. We can be mid-conversation, people will just leave. It doesn't matter. But
yeah,
if you keep talking, they're likely to stay.
That actually made me think of something else. Like, when we were first starting to stream, one thing I had at least said a few times was, like, I want to be able to just turn on the stream, play Magic, and turn off the stream.
Yeah.
right? And I just wanted to be able to do that. But the reason I was saying that, it wasn't so much because I just want to play Magic. It was because this was like when I got to spend quality time with my lifelong friends, right? And I didn't want to turn into some like stupid show I'm doing where I'm like not seeing my friends anymore. I'm just doing this show. So I wanted it to like stay social. And I still think it's, you know, we all have fun doing it. It's great. But I think some people want to do it like that because all they really want to do is just play Magic. And they don't necessarily want to do all the stuff around content creation. And that's really all it is chatting and discussing and, you know, being a host. You're putting on a show, like, at the end of the day. It's, you know, you're not just sitting in your room playing Magic. To
follow up on what Eric said about, you know, some of the streamers he watches will sort of not respond to chat for a few minutes. Like, I get irritated by, like, the 8-second delay when I'm watching the pals between when I type something and when I hear them react to it. Like, I cannot imagine waiting a minute. I would lose my mind.
No, you just leave.
Yeah.
The delay drives me crazy too. But that's just Twitch. There's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, it's a shame. But
the worst
yeah,
is like when you guys are like, "What's that card?" and I type it into the chat, and then I have to wait like 10 seconds while you're like, "Is it this? Is it this?" And then like you guys come up with a name at the same time that the chat goes through, and I'm like, what am I even for?
I usually like call you. I'm like, Alex is gonna say it in 20 seconds.
Yeah, don't worry, we'll get the answer soon.
But yeah, I mean that's kind of the you know 101 streaming, right? Like, you have to understand you're not just playing Magic. You're putting on a show. You're trying to do something that people would want to just sit there and watch. Like, imagine somebody standing at your table, not speaking, and just watching you. Who would do that for 3 hours or 4 hours, right? Like, you need to talk to them, have a conversation or something, or it's just the weirdest thing ever, like, to imagine that, right? So, like, that's the basics. And I think people have to understand, they really just have to understand that, like, no, you're not just going to sit there and play Magic and people are going to watch you. It's not going to happen.
You got to try and make it interesting.
Right. So making it interesting.
Tell me about making it interesting.
Well, I'm going to start with some simpler things. Things that still some people might not want to do. But I think one thing we started doing a while back now is asking people what decks they want to see us play. Saying, hey, you know, usually for game 2, what decks do you want to see us play? We'll play them for you. Whatever you want. And I think that creates a bit of a connection to, you know, if I chose a deck and somebody's playing it for me, I should stick around and watch them play it. And maybe you feel even more like you're playing it because you kind of picked it, you know what some of the cards are in it, and you can watch it kind of unfold. And that kind of makes it a little more exciting for you. And on top of that, we started adding a feature where you can bet on which deck is going to win, which is something Twitch has kind of built in. You can run bets using there's this currency you generate by watching streamers called channel points, and you can spend those to do all kinds of things, but you can also spend them to bet on different like gambles that you can set up. So we'll set up a thing at the beginning where you can bet on what deck you think is going to win. If you're right, you get everybody else's points. And again, like, if you pick the deck and then you bet on it, like, you're pretty involved at that point, right? Like, you have that same rush of, like, am I going to win? Am I going to win? That you might get out of playing Magic.
You are invested.
You're invested. And I think that just, you know, kind of keeps people interested. Because like I said, like discussional Magic content, that you can kind of interact with that. But the gameplay is so separate. You're not playing with them. But you can make people feel a little more like they're playing with it if they pick a deck for you, or if they, you know, are like incentivized to see a certain deck win for an actual reason. So I think that gets more people to stay through the whole game, which is great. But still, you know, and still that might not be something that some people want to do because I want to play my decks. I want to play, you know, I want to pick what deck I play. I don't want to, you know, be beholden to the viewers. But like, you know, you're making content here. You know, like. You might need to be comfortable with the viewers kind of picking what you do sometimes if you really want to keep them engaged. And also, it kind of pushes the content creation off to the viewers because they're picking the decks. Yeah. They're betting, getting themselves excited, And sometimes they even send you decks built, and you don't even have to do anything.
Some are crazy enough to send decks. That is true.
Who does that?
Yeah, but yeah, and then where we really go off the walls, going back to channel points, is something we added a little more recently, where you can take those channel points that you earned by watching or won by betting, and you can spend them to actually affect the game.
Yes.
You can make us draw cards, discard cards. You can put a Might Stone into play that just stays in play, and +1 power to all attacking creatures for the rest of the game. If you have a bunch of points, you can add Plane Chase on the spot to the game, whatever you want. So you can really mess with our games, and this is where it becomes like we're not even playing Magic anymore. The viewers are playing.
Yeah, we're the vessel for them.
Right, and I mean that's again, just like conversational Magic, this is turning it into something that the viewer can truly interact with. They're playing at that point. They're making people draw cards. They're changing how the game is played in permanent ways. They're betting on who wins. They might even pick the decks. It might even be a deck they sent you.
We had a thing called Pete Week, because we have a viewer named Pete, and he spent all his points for like 2 days straight and changed the games completely.
Yeah. And this is, and like I said, like, this is stuff that some people might just not want to do. You want to play Magic, right? Like, maybe you don't want to just let your viewers pick things for you and all that. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's just how, if you want to make content that people can interact with, you might have to do some of these kinds of things. But the main question, right, was on how we keep it fresh, right? And, all these things, they don't necessarily keep the content fresh. But what I will say is that we weren't always doing all of these things.
Yeah.
And we're kind of constantly trying to think of new things to add. One day it was like, what if the viewers pick the decks? What if, the Twitch changed how the betting things work? Now we could have it so they bet on who wins. And then they're getting all these channel points. Oh, maybe we could make a system where they can spend those channel points. They can, affect the game. And then, even simpler things about, deck building. What if Planeswalkers were commanders? Let's try that. What if we made joke commanders? What if we took an enchantment and made it a commander or whatever? Just constantly thinking of new little things like that. I think that's something that's kind of hard to teach. You just have to kind of feel it out and be, driven to think of things to do like that.
So
to keep yourself interested.
The direction where I really expected this question to go, and your answer was much more thorough and had a lot more depth than what I was imagining. Is I was kind of imagining that you were just going to talk about the island and Vanguard and the Heroes of Theros, the equipment stuff, and these ways that you have added to additional layers of gameplay on top of just the Magic. So it's not just watch me play PDH. Every single time you tune in, you're going to see PDH, and it's going to be the same format of PDH. It's this time there's Vanguard cards involved, and this other time there's an island involved, and you've wrapped that into your answer with the channel points, which I think is brilliant. That you're creating this viewer engagement by getting them involved and letting them choose when to force Plane Chase on you and when to force Vanguard on you and when to do these things. The island is kind of hard to set up, so it's not currently a channel point reward, but it's the island is what I think of when I think of you guys and keeping PDH fresh, because it's such a cool idea to take this product that was designed to be a multiplayer Magic thing and just put it in a game of PDH. I've never seen that anywhere else except for on your channel, and I love it.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone's seen that anywhere.
Are you talking about the Rivals of Ixalan?
Yeah.
Explorers of Ixalan Island?
Yep.
Yes, Explorers of Ixalan,
They have the island, and they've even created a bunch of custom tiles and custom effects for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we've made a couple of custom ones that that was how we added split second effect, because there's no split second in PDH. So we added a split second. Basically, Crozen Restoration or whatever, destroy target artifact or enchantment. Split second.
Crozen Grip.
Yeah, we have one of the 3 mana tiles is just that. And then there's also a split second, return a card from your grave to your hand, and stuff like that. we added all kinds of stuff, and those are probably better examples of how we, keep it different every time, along with having 200 decks.
200 is not a small number.
That certainly helps.
Yeah, a lot of decks to pick from, and we add layers. It's like almost like procedurally generated PDH content, where it's like these 4 decks with Plane Chase, these other 4 decks with Island, these 4 decks with Vanguard. There's probably like 10 million possible combinations, so that helps.
You've already done, a couple hundred of them, so you're getting close.
Yeah, we might run out actually.
That's not even counting team tag.
Not even counting team tag.
That was another example I was going to mention. A way to keep it fresh. Team tag, our little PDH deck drafting system, in the style of Jumpstart. That's another. What are the number of combinations on? I know you're a math guy.
15 times 29.
Okay.
Quite a bit.
Someone do
it's quite a bit.
435.
435. Boom. So there's 435 more decks that we technically have.
Did Alk just do that in his head as fast as it took John to use a calculator?
Did he?
Possibly. Oh.
Sounds like pathetic. I was over here trying to like, 5 times 9.
Carry the 2.
I'm gonna let them do that one.
You don't do 5 times 9. Do 290 plus half of 290.
Yeah, I'm just done.
Okay. All right.
That sounds like garbage.
This is how you keep podcasts interesting. Is you constantly reference arithmetic facts.
Yeah. People love that.
Yeah, this is how you.
I think that's how you lose views.
What? No.
It's not true.
Come back. We hate math.
All my homies hate math.
Just like you. But yeah, I mean, keeping things fresh it's I don't know, it's a constant thing. Having a bunch of decks helps, but you just have to think of new silly things you could do that people might want to watch. Magic has a lot of different products available to you too, like Plane Chase and Vanguard, and even the Explorers of Ixalan board game.
I want to go back to what this question: how do you keep content fresh? And it kind of lines up with the first question you had, where it's like, what's the biggest hurdle? And we said, like, interacting with the chat. Because I think keeping it fresh and interacting with the chat, like, they're hand in hand. Because if your chat, like, sort of dictates what they want to happen consistently, like, you kind of mold yourself to them.
Right. And then they want to stick around.
Yeah, they want to keep it going.
Because it feels like their content.
So it's, like, fresh for both sides. So it's great.
Yeah. And it's great because, like, they might tell you to do things that you wouldn't have done. Right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, that is a way to keep it fresh for yourself as well. It keeps us going, certainly.
All right. How do you build your streaming decks? Do you have separate decks for streaming, or do you use the same decks for streaming that you do just for your personal game nights? Like, is there a process you guys use? Do you, there are people who like to avoid certain cards or strategies for decks that they use to make gameplay content. Do you do any of this?
I really want to get into John's head vis-a-vis his process for building catapult fodder.
My process for that was wait a long time, and it'll eventually just show up.
This is so this is powerful magic.
It's pretty powerful. I conjured a deck into existence. Yeah. It's like real magic.
Exactly.
Yeah, but now as far as deck building process, I mean, at this point, that we don't have a separate group of decks or anything like that. Pretty much most of the PDH we play is streamed. So it wouldn't be much use to have a separate pile. But I think there would be certain strategies or cards that we would avoid if we wanted to do them in the first place, if we were making content. Because I have said in the past that, like, for instance, combo decks. Combo decks it's very hard to convey to the viewer where you're at with a combo deck. And luckily, we just don't really like combo decks. We have a few, but they're a little silly, I'll say. So avoiding it is just kind of natural for us. It's what we would be building anyways. But yeah, combo decks, like you can't see the person's hand, so you don't know if they're like one piece away from winning or something like that. And then when they do win, it's normally like, oh, it's over, boom, game over, and that's not very exciting to the viewer. It's a little different when you're watching like a single player play it, right? Like watching somebody on YouTube just like play Legacy Doomsday or whatever. I don't know. Like. Because you get to see them like slowly build it up, and you can see their hand the whole time. Like, oh, I just need this, and then boom, it happens, and it's exciting. But it's a little different when you can't see the person's hand. You can't really tell what they're doing. They just kind of do nothing for a while, and then they win. So, like, we would avoid that if we wanted to do it. But I don't know, Eric. Do we have any build restrictions we put on ourselves because we make content?
No, I mean, it all goes back to the earlier questions. Like, people like combo decks, obviously, because competitive PDH is growing and it's a huge part of the fan base now, I guess. But for watching it, it's not like that exciting, I want to say. The person just ends up winning, or they just get dragged out for another so-and-so amount. And if you want to keep shit fresh, you're not going to play the same combos every single time. You're going to, let how the board goes how it goes.
I mean, outside of, of course, like, combo decks are maybe a little boring to watch, but also, obviously, we have a lot of pack cards, and they're cards that kind of generate hype on their own, right? Howling Going, Marching Duo Drone, Classic, Scare Teller 2, but also, like, Mightstone. Like, we'll throw Mightstones in decks, because when somebody plays a Mightstone, it's exciting. But it's not just because it's for the viewers, it's exciting for us, too. But, like, there's those hype cards. And if you want to make your content a little more exciting, maybe you could look to add those a little more often. Cards that when you put it down, you'll be like, oh man, something's going to happen. Call Holler Swine, that's another good one. Stuff like that. Like, what's going to happen next now that card got played?
It's like cards that, like, I don't want to say shift the focus of the game, but, like, change the game almost. You know what I'm saying? Because the focus of the game should always be, to win, play what you can, do what you can. But, it's been said before, but the pals are like, are brain dead. If we see a coal hauler slime, it's over.
we're blocking it with everything.
We're just we're putting our horse blinders on and we're looking at that coal hauler. How can I swing 20 damage at that thing right now?
Typical popular WinCon card, coal hauler swine.
Yes. I don't know about when.
How about Tycon? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Tycon.
I'm sorry.
Tycon.
If there's
game con.
If Caller comes out and there's a way,
murder suicide.
If Caller comes out and there's a way to tie the game, there's a good chance we're gonna.
You got a very strong chance that the game's gonna end in a tie real quick.
And that's actually
it's kind of like combo, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of actually a good example, not just how we build our decks differently, but also how we play differently. To maybe make things a little more exciting. And again, this comes naturally to us because this is how we would be playing anyways. But we make some dumb plays that I think are also kind of fun and exciting to watch, like Call Horror Swine crap, or just, I don't know. You could go watch any of our videos and there's something stupid we did that was maybe more fun. What do we say? The good play or the fun play, right?
Yep.
Fun plays are fun to watch.
Good play is probably when you...
Would you say that is a method of keeping your content fresh?
I think so. A little bit. Because, I mean, this is another thing. Magic, I feel like you know what people should be doing, And you've seen people do the right thing a million times. So, like, seeing someone just be like, I know I shouldn't do this, but you know what? I'm just going to do it. Who cares? I'm sitting at a dining room table. Like, this, no stakes. Nobody cares. I'm just going to do the wrong thing and just see what happens. Like, just yesterday, Brent was playing Corpse Knight. And he plays the Corpse Knight on turn 2, like always. And on my turn, I had a Magma Jet. And I originally Magma Jetted the Corpse Knight, which makes a lot of sense. but Brent was like, oh, come on. And I was like, okay, fine. I'll just Magma Jet Brent for 2. And Scry 2. And it's like, why would anyone do that? It's so stupid. But, like, it's kind of funny, and it's kind of fun to watch. Probably more fun to watch than a removal spell being cast on a commander.
Yeah.
Like, boring.
Yeah, like, you see that a million times.
Yeah, like...
Speaking of making plays that no one wants to watch and making the fun play instead. What do I personally have to do to get Fred to take Grey Merchant out of half his
close
deck?
to it. Yeah,
I think it is actually.
Yeah?
He's getting
I don't
tired
have
of
to do
winning
anything?
with Grey Merchant also. He's like,
Aw,
we
this
all
is great
grown.
news.
yeah.
I'm getting
grown,
tired
and
of
now
him
Fred
winning with Grey
groans too.
Merchant.
Yeah.
Fred's like, I don't want to do
Hey.
this. So, like, I think
Grey
we're hitting
Merchant
a
is
point.
a classic.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, a lot of classics
Classic
are bad
is-
too, buddy.
yeah, classic isn't always good. Classic can be very boring. It's not very exciting to be like, oh, I drew Grey Merchant. Okay, pack it up.
I'm over here sitting at our wall of decks, and I'm thinking about another way to keep things fresh. It's like, we have so many commanders, but then you see some commander like Veteran Explorer. You're like, what? How do you build that? Oh, John's perfect deck is 11 lands. Another way, like, oh, Noble Benefactor. Oh, that's going to be a combo one. That's great. Oh, no. I tutor for Sunken City every game.
Yeah.
It's just like silly deck ideas melding with the way we play. It just makes it more interesting, I think.
Yeah, focus really, and I think at least some people try to do this when they're playing, even like EDH and stuff. It's like, when you're building a deck, in my opinion, it should be more about what kind of experience you're trying to generate.
Cultivate.
And less about, like, how tuned can I get this to win as quickly as possible or something. It's more like, what stupid thing could I do with Noble Benefactor? Literally, that's everybody search their deck for a card. Or Veteran Explorer. What if everybody just had 1 million lands? Like, what would happen? What happens next? And that's where I start when I'm building decks typically, is like that kind of stuff. And I think that makes maybe more exciting content. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that your guys' content, generally speaking, is pretty exciting and different. And I think a lot of it is attributed to what you do, when it comes to deck and card choice.
Yeah, and play style and all of that.
Yeah.
Thanks. And yeah, that's why I said at the beginning, like, we have solutions to keeping things fresh, but they might not necessarily be what everybody wants to hear. Because I feel like the way we play is not how everybody wants to play. Clearly. So, like, you can take our advice if you like, but you might not really like it.
The problem is they're taking our advice without taking our advice. Because I don't know, I've heard the competitive group's getting faster and faster, more aggro focused. I'm just saying, we've been aggro for 8 years now.
So after I built that Rilsa and that Amber deck,
they're both great. I love them both.
That I sent
I'll
you.
play Amber now.
Played last night.
Tomorrow.
I found out that Amber is so explosive. Like there are people who are experimenting with Amber and Veteran Explorer in the competitive scene. So like I don't know if my build of it is competitive, but this is definitely like a competitive deck that people are toying with.
Yeah.
That's all I can think about too.
I was
Soldier.
about to say the one that like dies and gives everyone basics. That one, like
no, the one that makes sure that Amber always draws you 3 cards.
Veteran Soldier.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I kept saying Veteran Explorer last night.
I kind of like it. That's a competitive deck.
I think it's super competitive. All those lands, you can do so much with that. You just have to have someone else kill it for you. I'm sure they'll watch.
Why wouldn't
they? Lightning bolt.
It's literally free real estate.
Rampant growth. No, sorry, a double rampant growth that's untapped.
Untapped, yeah. That's the part.
That's the one.
I kicked Grow from the ashes. Okay, I'm gonna keep things moving in the direction of additional questions because we have a couple more questions for you. This has been fantastic. It is not yet finished. The next question we have for you, and this might be more for John than Eric, you guys can tell me, is are there any tech tips or recommendations that you can share with
that's all, John.
our listeners? In terms of software, cameras, mics, is there a special piece of cardboard that you need in order to mount a top-down table camera? Tell me. Let's start with the most important thing. Tell me about the piece of cardboard.
The insert for a 500 count card box or something like that. It's like just a rectangle. Where did the thing come from, Eric? I actually don't even know. It's the weirdest shape. It's like it doesn't have a bottom or a top. It's just like a rectangle of cardboard. But anyways, that's mounted to a chandelier holder, which then has a camera arm stuck through the bottom of it with a screw on the other side to keep it in there. and then that has a webcam on it, and that's how you ceiling mount a webcam when you don't want to drill holes in the ceiling.
In the words of our Lord and Savior,
Perfect. Exactly.
Flawless design.
And also, there are some great pull-up bars out there for mounting a TV over a doorway. So I will say our structures of how we hold things up are very janky, but I think our setup's pretty good at this point. And yeah, I can definitely give some general tips. Now, it's obviously going to vary. You know, if you're sitting in your room streaming Spell Table at your desk, a lot of this isn't going to be super relevant for you. You could probably get like a basic spotlight of some sort to light up your desk and put a webcam over it, right? But what we're doing, you know, we're trying to light up an entire table, get it 4 people sitting around it to sound good and all that, and that's a little more complicated. And I can still give some kind of like audio and video general tips. First, video, like, I'm just gonna say webcams are perfectly good. They're actually very high quality. Most webcams now have 1080p lenses in them because they're so cheap. And a 1080p lens is plenty good. The issue with webcams is they run very slowly, and there are ways to fix that. Like, I'm sure you've just like plugged in a webcam and used it as is, and like there's like everything's like shadowing, it's all blurry and it like looks kind of crappy. The main thing you can change in your webcam settings is the exposure level. This is something I figured out. Webcams have an auto exposure feature where they kind of adjust the exposure of the webcam. That's basically how much light it's taking in. And when it's trying to take in a lot of light to like get it bright enough, it runs super slow and it looks awful. So what you're going to want to do is get the area super bright and then manually adjust the exposure on your webcams. And then they're going to run super smooth. Like, we just use a 1080p webcam for a top-down view, and I think it looks pretty good. I mean, everything's bright. Things look smooth. You can, like, if our hands are moving around, there's not, like, shadows behind it and stuff. And, I mean, honestly, if you could name cards by pictures, you could probably glance and name most of the cards on the screen. And that's pretty good for, you know, 4 different people's fields all zoomed out. It looks pretty good. So webcams are plenty good. We have 6 of them set up, and they all do their job just fine. So don't go out and buy like a DSLR just to like stream your Spell Table zoomed in thing. Like, it's not worth it. Audio is trickier, but I'm gonna say it's more important because I would say people can kind of squint and deal with like lower quality video. But if you sound like way too loud, it's like nails on chalkboard. Or like if you're too quiet and they have to like crank up their volume so much that like an alert goes off on their computer and it's like just blows out their speakers or something. Like, it's kind of miserable to listen to. So I'd really focus on getting your audio good. And again, if you're just streaming Spell Table, I just get a high quality headset. They have really good, really low sensitivity, meaning they don't take in all the ambient sounds of the room as much. It's really just gonna be like right in front of your face. So like any decently high quality headset is good. Or you can buy just like a cheap Audio Technica mic. There are a lot of good brands, and there's like a million videos online for how to, you know, slightly tweak your audio on it. And there are a lot of good settings and built-in filters on any streaming software where you can do that stuff. So that'll get you really far, and messing with the webcam settings will get you pretty good results on its own. As far as software, other setup stuff, I mean, obviously we're using the jankiest stuff ever to hold everything in place. You could probably shell out some more money for a proper like camera arm if you wanted to really mount it well, but there's also like cheap desk mount ones that you can get if you're just streaming your view for Stream Table or Spell Table. And like software, I mean, it depends on what you're trying to do. If you're just like streaming a webcam and like nothing else, OBS is fine. OBS will do everything you want. You don't have to get too fancy there.
I was going to say, we've been huge supporters of Polypop lately.
Yes, actually.
They've been killing it, man.
We really do love Polypop's a newer streaming software. It has a built-in 3D physics engine. So you can add 3D effects of any sort. I'm sure if you've watched recently, you've seen at least a couple of them. You can even make like your webcams 3D objects, so you can like move them around and stuff. You can like automate so many things in it. And it's really powerful, and there's a lot you can do with it. You don't necessarily need all that if you're just, like I said, if you're just streaming Spell Table or something. You don't necessarily need all that. But I would look into it if you want to do some like more involved things. It's pretty cool, and it's pretty sleek, like well designed, easy to figure out. Yeah, OBS is also fine, and it's like a mainstay thing.
Yeah, mostly everyone has OBS, or uses it at least.
Yeah, we used to use it. Only recently switched, really.
Because it can't handle fucking 8 webcams.
Oh, another thing I would say, if you're going to have multiple webcams, I would shy away from having the exact same brand of webcam.
Oh, God.
If you're, like Logitech makes great webcams, but if you get, like, 4 C920s, which is, like, their generic 1080p one, they will, like, steal the driver from each other and, like, randomly crash each other all the time. It's a constant headache. So now, like, I think almost all of our webcams are all slightly different brands. And like I said, 1080p lenses are so cheap now. Most companies make a good quality one, so I wouldn't worry too much about brand. But I'd worry more about changing the settings on them. But yeah, that's just some of the stuff I've learned. I am not an expert on this stuff. I have just been screwing around with these things for 4 years now, and just like
you're literally Dr. Frankenstein. Fucking jury rigging this shit together.
Yeah, I'm just like tripping over coffee tables, trying to set up get this like crazy rinky-dink setup we have. I mean, at this point, we have some high quality gear, but I don't think you need all that if you're just starting out. Like, we have nice lapel mics and stuff, but don't go down the rabbit hole. Don't spend $1,000 to get your little like spell table setup. It's not worth it. Get a webcam, get a headset, get maybe a light feature could be good, like some sort of spotlight to light up your spot, and stop there until you really know you even want to do this.
Yeah. Say streaming hardware and software is much more accessible than it was 8 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Like nowadays, like you can pretty much go on any online website and find everything you need right there, and pretty cheap too.
Yeah, and like I said, there are a million videos now. There are so many YouTubers that have videos telling you how to set up audio in OBS, how to get your video quality better. There's so many videos. Just Google it. You'll figure it out. It's not too bad.
Our setup is a little wonky to give specific advice for.
Right, yeah. Like, you're not... I don't know. Maybe you are, but I think most people are not trying to stream an entire table of people and get their audio good on everybody at the same time.
Yeah, I do.
But if you are, take a look at our setup. You can...
If Liam wants, I can post a picture and he can put it on his show notes of our beautiful setup from the ceiling. But
we'll get you a picture of the pull-up bar TV and the webcam box. Yeah, it's beautiful. I had thought of a few times in the past of doing like a little studio tour video, and I never did it, just to kind of show how we do everything.
It'd be a good idea.
But we could still do it. It's only gotten crazier. Those are my tips.
That is an extremely thorough answer. I appreciate that, and in a weird twist that probably makes me a bad interviewer, I have no follow-up questions and nothing to add. I don't know anything about any of this.
We work him to the bone here.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You've
high
seen
fives for Eric.
It's bad news bears.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good time.
It's just muted half the
rough.
Game. Who knows that?
Yeah, I mean, the
God bless
John.
John.
Intro introduced me as the producer.
Yep.
And that's what I've done. I've produced it. We've moved to many different rooms, reset everything, and I don't know. I enjoy it. I kind of like figuring it out.
Now that we got leased extended, like we can drill some holes in the ceiling. Fuck it, who cares?
I think so. You know what's funny?
We can get rid of this cardboard.
I don't know. I think we got to use it. I think it's funny. I really have kind of started to enjoy it, and I'm almost like sad that things are pretty good right now. Like, I wish something would go wrong so I could, like, figure it out.
You want there to be more problems for us? Sometimes the computer wasn't a big enough problem for you?
Yeah.
John needs more drama in his relationship with technology.
So good, does.
Dude,
and our audio's just been, like,
better
very
every update, too, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. I would really recommend that program if you want to do more complicated things. It's a great program.
I just have one last question on the streaming thing, and it's very broad. This is the miscellaneous question. Is there anything you would like to add about any of this? Any final tips? Any sign-off updates? Any last words that you want to get in about the entire topic of how to stream without things getting stale?
I want to say, because I don't want to say I'm like entrenched into the PDH what was it, fan base, whatever, like the big group who plays it. I don't want to say like I'm in there every single group, but I kind of am. And I've seen a lot of streamers try and do PDH, and they do it for a couple weeks. They see they have bad numbers, and they sort of stop. The biggest thing for like streaming PDH, because like I said before, it's a niche. It's a niche of a niche, you know. So you're not going to hit as many viewers as you want, but like the big thing is that you got to keep trying. You just got to do it every chance you get. Like we do it bi-weekly. But like do it all the time, and you'll get some traction eventually. It's all good.
Yeah. Above all, consistency.
Yeah. Consistency is key.
If you say Tuesdays and Thursdays, 7 p.m. Eastern, you better be there every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Like, you miss a couple of days, and the couple of people that were sort of interested just forget, and then they're gone. You need to develop a sense to it. That's like probably the biggest thing for growing it all. And but as I said earlier, and I really do want to reiterate, like, don't stress about viewers, especially making PDH content. Like,
yeah, exactly.
You probably know every PDH player already if you're making PDH.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, I know like these people from left and right. Yeah.
Yeah, like there's a couple hundred of them in the Discords. And, if you post your link there, they'll probably stop by. But, don't kid yourself. Like, you're not going to get 100, 1,000 viewers, anything like that. You should be doing it because you love PDH and you like that kind of feeling of, like...
You want to
expand the format, and also you like that feeling of kind of, like, carrying on a conversation while you're doing something. Because that's what Magic is for us. Like, it's not so much about playing the game. We're
just hanging out. We're just having a good time.
Exactly. Getting together, hanging out, sitting around at a table, talking about whatever, really, not even necessarily PDH all the time. And you really have to enjoy that if you're going to enjoy making the content for it.
That's why it's easy to be fresh for us, because like we're just hanging out, like, PDH is getting kind of boring. Let's find a new way to ruin it for us. Let's put it into the viewers' hands so they can ruin it.
Right. Yeah, that's like, we've been playing PDH for 8 years, but we've been friends for like 20 years. And we've been sitting around a table doing something together for our whole lives, So, like, we've been keeping it fresh with our friend group forever. It's just, it just kind of comes naturally.
We are blessed to have a good group of players like that.
Yeah.
And I use the term good loosely. We're good at playing our meta, not much other ones.
Yeah. You really just have to be consistent.
Consistency is key.
And don't expect the whole world to show up when you turn your stream on.
Don't be mad. So let's say you're like averaging like 5-10 viewers. Don't be mad when you turn it on and you get like 3. Like, that's just, people have lives, man. Some groups decide to record their PDH Pod episodes on Tuesdays right before we stream. I mean,
convenient.
Just saying, like, people have lives, man. It happens. You can't be mad at anybody.
Yeah.
Look, all I'm saying is that the original idea of recording on Tuesdays was that we would be done by 7, so we could, so I personally could tune in. That did not happen.
Alk and Brad and you talk. You're going way past 7, buddy.
Oh yeah, we go to like 8:30.
I say that with love, by the way. Like,
Wait,
you're fine. Just talking, man. It's a good time.
This decision was made long before we ever tried to stream things. Like, if you look back at our first couple show notes, like the first couple shows we did, I think we started right when Commander Legend Baldur's Gate came out. So like we had like an introduction episode, and then we had like two
and
different
we had
episodes
Double
for
Masters.
CLB set review.
Yeah.
And like And like you can look at these show notes and it's like, yeah, we're each going to talk about a couple cards for
Nope.
each color and we'll wrap up in
Absolutely
an hour.
Yeah, right.
It's like,
You've seen our set reviews.
what?
Yeah, at least we gave up on
That's
that.
on
We know that's
if
gonna
it'll
like-
take more than 3 hours.
It's if you looked at those, you would get the acute and definitive sense that no one involved in this has
Yeah.
any idea what math is or how numbers work. So,
Yeah,
which
we
is
hate math.
completely true.
Right?
I was like
Yeah,
at work
it's-
one day, and
yeah,
I was like,
math
I'm
is
gonna
the
listen to a new episode of PDH Pod. I looked it up. It was like an hour 54. I was like, oh no.
I'm looking at the episode
Yeah.
1 show notes, and I see, I'm gonna highlight it in this for anyone that goes to look at the future. It says no time limit on answers.
No time limit.
Yep. And then like starting with like episode 2 or episode 3, Brad started putting this message on the top that says, let's avoid rabbit holes. Let's try to keep this to a tight, I think the first one probably says, let's try to keep this to a tight 60 minutes. And then he gave up and he's like, let's try to keep this to a tight 90 minutes. Like, but this message just
It
got
got- it got
copy-pasted
copy-
into all of the show
It got
notes
copy pasted on the
Brad.
template.
for weeks.
It's fine.
It's like me.
Oh yeah, no.
I
it's great.
personally
I
am very
feel
happy with the length of the show. I know that yeah, but it does kind of, for the original plan where we would record this and then watch the pals. That plan was ultimately kind of foolish. But we're recording these on Wednesdays now, so hopefully more pals action for everyone.
It's like when you watch something you want to watch. It's like people on YouTube specifically, they're like, oh, we have to make this video 10 minutes long, 10 to 20 minutes long, because anything longer than that, no one's going to watch. Like, if you want to watch or listen to something, like, why would you cut the length of it? Like,
Longer the
give
better.
me
Yeah.
that 5-hour long spiel about whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Yeah,
like a
like,
4-hour
I
long
honestly-
video of, like, Metal Gear Solid 4. Like, I listen to it all the time. It's like, who cares? Give me that long shit. I love it.
Yeah. No, I'm in that boat with you. I honestly, like, if it's good, I don't care if it's 5 minutes or 5 hours or 5 days. I
Yeah.
will listen to all of it.
All of it. It's 5 minutes.
you
I
know-
want more. Hold on.
Yeah, but like at any point, 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days, at any point I turn it off, it means that I mentally got bored, which is pretty bad because most of my Magic podcasts are on in the background while I'm doing chores. So if I get bored of what you're saying, that's pretty bad.
Honestly, I don't really listen to any other podcasts besides you guys. It's like, I don't want to hear people talk about EDH,
House of Commons is high quality entertainment. If you want more PDH podcasts than what we're producing here, I know that I haven't seen them be active in a little while. I don't know if they stopped or if they're on hiatus or if I
thought one of them took a hiatus, but I don't remember which one.
it's possible. I
I don't know.
I've not been paying as close attention as I should have been. Let me. I'm looking this up right now.
You know how it is. Life takes a toll, man.
Like we said,
You got
hardest
too much
part,
shit going
getting
on.
everybody
Especially this
together.
time of year. This is the worst time of year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the struggle is real.
And I was going to say, like, earlier, I was
That's
like,
a lot.
you guys on episode 30? That's pretty
Yeah, I
impressive,
think-
man.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Because like I said before, it's like, people, you see streamers try a PDH for a little bit, and they do, like, 4 or 5 streams of it. Like, you know what? No one's watching this. I'm not going to do it. But, like, that's not how it works. You got to keep doing it. You'll crack through that ice eventually.
Yeah, I can't remember what the statistic was that Brad shared with us, but it was fairly early on, and it was something like the 7th or the 8th episode is when most fail or stop, like before they get to that point. And 30's going strong.
Very good.
Yeah, 30's great. You guys can easily keep going forever.
House of Commons
Fine.
posted number 13 in December about Liara Portier, which is, I think, I kind of don't listen to this, Jules. I kind of didn't listen to that one because I've played against this deck a lot and like I kind of know what it does, and I was like, I don't need to hear them tell me about it. I know all about Liara Portier. So that's
Honestly, like, you see so many people, like, try and break Tatiova and Weavers. Like, dude, that deck does, like, 2 things. I've seen it a million times. Like, come on. You're not doing anything special to this. Crash has the best fucking Tatiova deck. Yaldabaoth is the best. Or, Yaldabaoth has Weavers, right? I don't know.
I think Yaldabaoth has a Weavers. Yaldabaoth's more famous
Yeah.
for Parcel Beast and Izzet Guildmage, which
Yeah,
I think
his Parcel Beast is great.
do deserve to be talked about because they are like the 2 most complicated decks I've
they're
ever
fantastic.
played.
His primer on Parcel Beast makes me sick. I love it.
Reading that makes you a better player.
It gives you a headache and makes you a better player.
Like
it's like that. It's like that harsh medicine.
Yeah,
it's great.
if you're sitting around and you're like, man, I wish I was a better Magic player. Find Yalaran's primer for Parcel Beast, or is it Guildmage, and just read through it top to bottom, the whole thing, every
read that
word.
20 times.
Like, don't skip anything one sitting. You will leave that experience a better Magic player. You will be more skilled for having had that 20-minute experience.
It's like the opening for Simpsons, Bart's writing on the chalkboard.
Yeah.
You write that thing out across the whole globe.
Yeah.
You'll become a better player for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you see them do their thing like a couple times, like Weavers and Tatioa specifically.
Yeah.
Like, all right, I don't need to see more people try and do this. I've already seen it.
Right. Yeah, I can skip people talking about Liara. I know what Liara does, but like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Liara, like, all right, you're gonna cast a 3-mana rock off the top for free. All right, go ahead. You got it.
Chev, Jules, if you're listening, get Yalaran on the show. Get him talking about Parcel Beast. This is the next big thing. Trust me.
God, that's gonna be like a 4-hour episode.
Yeah, I'm ready.
You guys hit the mute button. He's just gonna start going off.
Yeah, buddy. Anyway, no rabbit hole. We got to keep this to a tight 90
We're
minutes.
past
The show
that.
notes.
No. We're only at like 70 so far for the actual podcast.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay. We can keep going then.
All right. Liam has a question that he really wants to ask you guys.
The question that I have for you is, what is your favorite or weirdest Rule Zero conversation / scenario that you have had? This is a listener question that comes to us from Scooby Drew Zero. I've been saving this one because I knew a Pals episode was coming up, and I definitely wanted to hear you guys answer this. So have at it. What's your favorite or weirdest Rule Zero scenario?
Drew!
Yeah, we love some Scooby Drew. Whenever we see him in chat, it's like, I love it. But you know what? Our biggest Rule Zero thing, like, people don't even think about it, but back when we first started, we had to say it constantly. Like, no, we play 40-21.
You could say it's Rule Zero.
I guess that's Rule Zero, right?
I had one that I had thought of, though. Our rules around Goblin Test Pilot. There's actually a couple.
Oh, yeah. That's a great one.
Yeah. So, first off,
Goblin Test Pilot has
if you don't know, Goblin Test Pilot's Commander, you tap it, does 2 damage to a ram target. That's all it does. First off, it's a 0/2 flyer. Is it? Okay.
That's fine.
All right.
Thank you very much.
First off, if it hits a player that was the Monarch, you get the Monarch.
Or the initiative, right?
And the initiative. Yeah, why not? And the initiative. Yeah. And it's also commander damage, if that's ever relevant.
That's my favorite one.
If you take 21 Goblin Test Pilot damage, you lose.
Yeah.
It could happen. You never know.
I don't know how you take 21. It's so fucking odd.
Wait, what was the other one? And
all right, I like that.
If you are at 2 or less life playing Goblin Test Pilot, and you gain life on the stack, you must tap Goblin Test Pilot to see if it kills you.
That was like the second game of the Pals I ever watched.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that was like 4 years ago when Alk was like fresh onto the Pals. He was watching Jeremy play Goblin Test Pilot, and Jeremy played a Radiant Fountain.
Life gain on the stack.
Activate Test Pilot right now.
Yep, and he killed him
on the stack,
and he killed himself.
That's awful.
And that's an example of keeping your content fresh by letting your viewers pick what you do.
And Jeremy was such a good sport about it too. He was like, you know what? That's awesome.
Yeah.
he picked up his cards. He was so chill. Like,
it's great. It's funny.
It was beautiful.
That's more important than winning to us.
Yeah.
Like, I would much rather die to my own test pilot than win a game of PDH.
It's more fun like that.
It's like,
die to your test pilot.
Right.
With life gain on the stack.
First 24-hour stream.
That's hilarious. You could...
Like, the first 24-hour stream, we were all, like, just tired as shit. And there was, like, 2 test pilot games that day. I don't remember exactly. But Fred was, like, mad. He's like, fuck it. And he played False Noble. And, like, test pilot already killed it, like, twice. And so he played it. I don't remember who it was, but someone tapped and activated test pilot. And Fred just immediately threw it away, like, across the room.
I think, he unearthed or something. I forget. He did something to get it, raised dead or something to get it back multiple times. Yeah. And test pilot killed it.
He re-added.
That's awful.
I watched I
Fred
watched
just
one
gave
game
up.
where
He just
Test Pilot
threw
killed
the
it twice, and then Burning Inquiry got it once. Like that was good.
Oh,
Yeah.
I need to put Burning Inquiry.
Yeah,
somewhere
that's
in there.
probably the thing we have the most rule zeros around. I bet there's other things I'm just forgetting, but that's what comes to mind.
Well, we do a lot of Rule Zero shit. Like, obviously, we said 40-21.
Yeah.
But, like, we allow Planeswalkers because we don't care. They're never going to print an uncommon Planeswalker that says this can be your commander because that doesn't make them money. We allow enchantments if it's, like, kind
The Long Reach of Night.
I have the one, I don't even know what it's called. Long Reach of Night, yeah, exactly. Thank you. I have that as an enchantment. We allow,
Yeah, we have a few
I
common.
don't want to say we allow common.
You have
we have,
the
like, two.
Sated Disciple and
Clan Ambassador, and we have
Yeah.
Set of Disciple.
Clan Ambassador, that's the other one. Yeah.
Clammy boy. We allow them if they're like interesting and like no one wants to build. Well, besides Jeremy, another Bear's Companion deck.
It's something different at least.
Set of Disciple's
only got one
more interesting, I
option
think.
for Teamer.
It's because Wizards is coward.
Waiting for those 3-color wedges.
Not gonna lie,
Wedger card.
the visit to Akoya with a suspicious lacking of uncommon creatures was disappointing.
Yeah,
We said in set review,
complained
it's like,
about
I
that
guess we're
heavily
never getting them.
when the
Like,
first set
this
came.
proves it to me.
We got crystals.
Which
Kind
ones?
of gave us some juice though.
Ikoria's 3-color
Banners.
uncommon cycle with
Akoya's
the crystals.
banners.
Crystals, yeah,
These
yeah.
rocks. Yeah, it's cons had banners which you could sacrifice for a card. The crystals cycled for a card. Yeah,
Yeah, okay, I
massive
remember.
bummer. I'm holding out hope. I think someday Lightning Angel's gonna get a downshift. Yeah.
We'll get it eventually, hopefully. Like the way Wizards is printing shit, like we'll get it eventually, no doubt. Because like even I mean I said this before, is like why wouldn't they just print like it's a green creature and it has an activated ability like blue and red? You know, how does that break draft or anything? That's fine.
Blake's plan
But I don't
is
draft
he wants to get a prismatic Piper and take a Sharpie to it so that it says you choose 2 colors instead of 1. And the drawback is that one of his commanders is this garbage useless card that's like not even castable.
That's,
So he
that's
wants
fair.
5 mana.
He wants to
3
pair
whatever it is,
a Simic prismatic Piper with Togo. That's his plan to make a teamer deck. I do. I tell that
Blake
man
he's
he's a genius frequently.
Tell him he's a genius.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
That
I,
sounds both equally horrific and amazing.
yeah. Like I want to just encourage him to do it because I want to see what this deck looks like.
Before, I was really on the train of like, just do whatever you want. Wizards is never going to print this stuff. It doesn't matter. But now, like, Wizards is printing
Hold out
everything.
and see
so
what
I was
they
like,
give us.
let's
Yeah.
take a chill pill. And maybe they'll print something eventually. Yeah. Because they've given us too much, honestly. Like, I haven't updated decks in like
What was the last set you updated with?
It just hurts to think about. When I see Alk updated his 70 decks, I was like,
Had to at least been CLB because Duodrone.
Yeah, no, it was definitely
That was
Baldur's
the
Gate.
last time
Okay.
I did not update anything past Double Master.
In fairness, the only thing I can really think of since then is it Charm?
Is it Charm?
Yeah.
No, well, that's just Double Master, but like all the new sets have crazy stuff. I just haven't done it. It's like for Baldur's
Yeah,
Gate, I think
I
I
saw
ordered
that.
like 600 or 700 cards, and I was like, after this, I was like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. This is too much. I'm losing money. These decks are killing me.
Dominaria didn't give us a lot, but Brothers War did.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brothers War. Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. Like Brothers War, like choose
Yeah.
every
Rust Goliath, Gaia's
why
Gift,
did I write-
Loren's Escape. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to play Cradle Clearcoat.
Yeah, Cradle Clearcoat had a really bad draw. Yeah.
Brent had like
The
7
entire
lands.
deck is designed around getting massive piles of mana out of the commander, and I don't think Brent ever tapped it for mana. I was like,
Uh-huh.
He did once at the
What is-
beginning.
He did once, but I forced
Yeah.
him to. I was like, dude, you have like 3 more minutes.
yeah, I want to bring us back to this listener question, Scooby Drew, favorite or weirdest Rule Zero, because I had a big answer all planned out for this, and it's just everything that Sniff has already said. My favorite Rule Zero situations are just that I want to see more diversity in commanders. I think that's a huge part of the draw for me about this format. Separate from EDH, like the two big draws for me are that EDH is just a wasteland of bombs and board wipes and infinites, and I don't want to deal with that. Just a cesspool.
Yes.
Like so, and that's its whole thing. But the other huge draw is that there's so many more uncommon creatures than there are legendaries. And when you expand that out to include, Eric's Long Reach of Night deck, like these enchantments that flip into creatures, and I have one of those in Autumnal Gloom. And when you add, I've got an artifact. What? Oh yeah, the Heirloom Mirror. Yeah, I've got an artifact that flips into a creature, like just rule zeroing that in. I've got a Planeswalker as a deck. I've experimented very briefly and very gently with partnering two uncommon creatures together that don't otherwise have partner.
I haven't tried partner PDH, but Fae and Red Mage.
Yeah, I get kind of squirrely about it because like if I had a group where everyone was doing that and like I could count on that being the standard power level, I would be there for it. But like if I'm going to bring this deck into a regular game of PDH, I'm going to be extremely conscious of all the advantages that my deck has over the other decks for having a second commander and additional colors and a access to a whole new card that's just a rarity power level above everything else. Like that can be enormous. So like my forays into partner PDH have been extremely tame, I think, by design. But just being
like Fae and them, like they purposely make it so you don't go infinite creatures, which is great. I love it.
Like you can't be devoted druid in Quillspike, which is good.
Yeah, like that's like boring as shit.
Right. But it's still like the thing that kind of gets me a lot is Faye used to have this deck that I think was Gilder Baron and Winding Constrictor. And to me that always felt like too much because both of those cards individually make really good, perfectly
decks. Yeah.
They're great bets by themselves. And when you put them together and you have both of those effects at the same time and like all three of those colors at the same time, like that feels like it's too much to me. Like the only and again, if I was bringing it into a whole group where everyone was doing it, then it's fine. That's the power level you can expect to play at. But like, if I'm gonna bring my Gilder Baron plus Winding Constrictor deck into a meta where someone else has a Gilder Baron deck and someone else has a Winding Constrictor deck, then I feel like I am the jerk, and I don't want to do that. So yeah, just my favorite Rule Zero things are just people being really flexible about what can be a commander, planeswalkers, enchantments, artifacts, like anything, commons. I've got a handful of decks with the common backgrounds. That's completely fine.
I want to say, like, we bend Rule Zero as far as it goes. And, like, if it wasn't, like, I mean, I'm going to admit it, we all sort of lost passion around Baldur's Gate, like, right after that, too. So we didn't like, brood decks, like, hardcore like we used to. Because, like, there was a time when I was, like, 2 decks away from you. And I was like, this is f***ing close. But then you, like, brewed, like, 7. I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm not going to catch up to him ever. But, like, Baldur's Gate's probably like the first or second best deck or best set ever made for PDH, and it's mainly because of initiative and all the other shit. All the comments are great, but like this all once we sort of lost passion, and like if we brewed constantly behind that, like we would have all the common backgrounds also, which isn't technically legal for PDH, but like I said, we bend Rule Zero as far as it goes, so we would have the.
Yeah. I mean, if we can justify it and it sounds interesting to us, we'll just do it. We don't really care.
Yeah,
we don't give a shit. Yeah,
it's extremely liberating.
We follow the ban list. Like if you banned Mystic Remora and Ristic Study, like all right, who cares? I don't want to play those cards anyway. Right. Fuck it. Who gives a shit? Get them out of here.
So one of the
backgrounds, we're still firmly on the side. Use whatever background you want. Besides
one of the Rule Zero conversations that I've had with Blake a couple times is before the banning of Ristic and Mystic, I have this mono blue Riptide Chimera deck. Riptide Chimera is a
great deck. I love that.
3 mana 3/4 enchantment creature with the text at the beginning of your upkeep you bounce an enchantment to your hand. And so, like, that's meant to be its drawback that justifies its really aggressive cost, because a 3 mana 3/4 flyer is pretty intense. But like, if you fill this deck with like enchantments that have really powerful ETB ability that you just get to use over and over again, you can do some pretty cool stuff with it. And before the Mystic and Ristic ban, I did have Mystic in there, just because I thought it interacted really well. The cumulative upkeep versus the I can just bounce it to my hand if I don't want to pay, and then recast it and reset the upkeep. Like, I thought that was a really cool interaction. And when I banned the card, Blake was telling me, you should just Rule Zero it back in. Like, just keep it in that deck, because like it wasn't ever a problem in that deck. Like, you banned it for other reasons, for other decks, for other metas. Like, it's still not a problem here. Like, no one
you banned it for people who don't care.
Right. So yeah, he was telling me no one would care if I kept Mystic in that deck and kept using this like really cool interaction, and I was like, maybe. I don't want to risk it. I'm taking Mystic out of here. He kept Ristic and Mystic in his Goblin Test Pilot deck because honestly they need the help.
Well, last time he was here, we agreed, in Test Pilot, quotation marks, needs the help. So, like, I mean, I don't know. You shouldn't run it, but for Test Pilot, who cares? Go ahead. You're already cheating by winning with the most powerful commander ever put into
Exactly.
anybody.
It's tier 0. You can't. There's nowhere to go but up.
You can't improve on that.
Yeah.
Flawless design.
Does
I mean, I don't really have any other scenarios. Like, we bend it as far as it goes anyway, because before any commanders, we play with 40-21, and like we don't state that enough. Like Brownie, Findhorn Brownie said on the related streaming, I was like, oh, I haven't watched a 40-21 game in forever. I was like, well, yeah, because we haven't streamed forever. But like, that's about it. Like, we take every Rule 0 thing we can get. Because it's all about having fun and, trying out different things. That's all I really gotta say. Like, I don't know. Rule 0 is good, but when you rely on it 100%, like, I don't want to call names or anything, but like the tryhards, like, oh, we're just gonna play with these backgrounds no matter what. Like, we're not paying attention to that rule or anything. Like, I mean, like, I get it for sure, but like, I don't know. I've had too many to drink to think about this question.
That's fair. Does Liam have anything he wants to add to the Rule 0 discussion?
Liam's pretty boring. Liam just likes to play by the rules.
Liam, you're a stickler for the rules, buddy. What's going on?
Oh, so actually, my stickler for the rules comes from being a judge. No.
Yeah. Because you're like Rule 1, right? Or Level 1?
Yeah, just L1. No. I like to play pretty clear cut by the rules. Just because I like having the option to go sit down with any community or group and be able to play the format, because at any table, without having to worry about the Rule 0 conversation. Now, that being said, I usually have absolutely nothing wrong with people asking questions like, can I run a Planeswalker? Can I run a non-creature enchantment as a commander? Can I run, Self-Preservation, the silver-bordered card, in my, mono-green nonsense deck? Like, yeah, I don't care. Like I personally generally don't care about what someone's trying to do. What I will care about is my own decks. And that's just, I just like to play by the rules because I'm boring.
It's not even a boring thing. It's just like, it's fine to play with the rules. There's nothing wrong with
especially as someone who the majority of Magic that I play is at large events, when I'm off the clock. It's definitely more convenient to have decks that play by the rules.
Yeah, for sure. If it's even better to like lend decks out. Like, all right, here, play this one. You're good. I do think though that everyone should try out Uncommon Planeswalkers. I have been saying that forever. Uncommon Planeswalkers are great, and they all bring a different dynamic to the game.
Mm-hmm. I've definitely side-eyed the Chandra before.
Chandra's great. Alk has a Chandra deck, Elemental Tribal.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
I've definitely side-eyed the Jaya and the Kasmina that are from War of the Spark, but they didn't spark my interest as much as the Chandra did.
That Jaya is like 5 mana.
Yeah, that's partially why.
Yeah, he's like borderline rough.
Yeah.
Is Jaya your favorite Magic character?
Jaya is not my favorite Magic character, coincidentally.
Who is?
No, who is?
Yeah.
Gosh.
Your profile, the guy who's running away.
Oh, that guy, yeah.
If I had to choose a recently named non-legendary card given, it'd be Ulf from Dominaria, but favorite Planeswalkers would be Will and Rowan.
Will and Rowan are great. I like them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They're great
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna let John go because he has places to be and things to do.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much for joining us. We're gonna wrap this up here. In
Yeah.
just a second.
I hate to cut anyone short, but
Yeah. No. I don't want to.
All
I don't
right.
want to keep you. I'm super grateful for your time. Sorry we ran a little longer than we said we would.
no, it's all been great. I wish I could keep talking,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's got stuff
No,
I gotta take care of. So
I think
He's got some shit
if
to
we
figure
kept
out.
talking,
He's got returns of
Brad
videotapes.
would be really irritated with us. So I'm okay. If now's the time you gotta leave, then take off, do your thing. I'm gonna let Liam just run through our outro, and thank you so much for joining us, friends. This has been fantastic, and we look forward to seeing you again in 15 more episodes.
perfect.
As is
I'd say
tradition.
episode 45 is coming up, right?
15 weeks.
Perfect.
All right,
All
Johnny
right,
boy, have a
y'all.
good one.
Thanks so much for having me on, and it was super fun. I'm totally down. Episode 45. Sign me up.
We'll see you then.
Cheers.
All right, now that nerd's gone.
A few more
I
things.
don't really have anything else to add. Like, Rule Zero is like there for you guys to have a good time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it's there for in the first place. It's like, okay, these rules are the way they are, but if you're playing kitchen table Magic like most people are, it's like, you know what, go ahead, do whatever you want. It's fine. It doesn't matter.
The thing with the rules is they are simply a framework, right? Like
Yes, exactly. I agree.
when you go out into the big wide world, those are the rules you should be expected to follow because those are the rules that everyone knows. When you're at home, play by whatever rules you want. That, I often tell people Rule Zero is like a game of Uno, right? There are the written rules that come with the game that you should follow when playing in public. And then there are the bajillion house rules that everyone has because nobody actually knows how to play Uno. And that's it. That's all it is.
That's too
Well,
right.
it's funny because when Uno made a post on like Twitter or whatever they did,
Yeah.
saying that, oh, you can't stack draw fours, like everyone in the comments was like, no, you're full of shit. We've been stacking fours forever. Like, that's Rule Zero forever. Like, oh, what do you mean? We've been playing Planeswalkers since they came out. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's how Alk started watching us. What do you mean?
Yeah.
You want me to stop that?
In reality, take the rules with a grain of salt. They are simply just a framework.
I agree with that. They're just like, all right, this is what you're supposed to play with. And no deck needs a Mystic Remora or Mystic Study to be played well. But it helps out the top decks.
Well, if there's nothing else, then we just have a few more things before we wrap it up for the week. If you need more Pauper Commander talk or have any questions about the format, you can email the show at thepdhpod@gmail.com or head on over to the PDH Homebase's website or Discord server. You can find Brad and I on Twitter at PauperB and at Pauper Command. And as always, you can find Dave as Alcadron just about anywhere else that PDH is being talked about. We'll put all the links in the details. Eric, would you like to say where people can find you?
You can find the PDH Pals every Tuesday and Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/PDH Pals. We stream, like I said, every Tuesday and Thursday. We're here. I'm also on Twitter all the time at PDH Pals. And like I said earlier, I'm in like pretty much every single PDH Discord. If you need me, I'm right here. I'm pretty much the spokesman, quotation marks, for PDH Pals. So
Awesome.
I'm here to help you out in any capacity you need.
Absolutely. Last call for anything we might have missed.
I'm just going to say it's been a blast talking with you guys. I love you guys. I wish Brad was here because I value him a lot, and I hope he feels better soon.
I hope so too. You can hang out with Brad in another 15 episodes.
Another 15 episodes.
Yeah.
All right. I'm fucking waiting for that one.
All
Four months.
right.
4
I'ma
months
find
out, we'll
his
get you.
ass.
We'll
I'ma
get you
get him.
back.
Don't
in here.
worry.
Yeah.
There ain't no way he's going to be sick in 15 episodes. I'm going to get him.
It's
As
happening.
episode 30 of the PDH Pod comes to a close, we'd like to give a big thanks to MTG Brad for letting us use their original music for the show. And from everyone in here to everyone out there, brew a deck, play PDH, and we'll see you in a week. Peace.
Cheers.
I brought Pauper decks to the party. Pauper. I brought Pauper decks to the party.